And as American college campuses melt into a smelly puddle of intolerance and stupidity, one show is there. Not to brag, but it's this one. According to one University of Texas professor, political correctness on campus is more than just annoying. It's killing debate and discourse as students become too afraid what they believe or even over time to think. That professor, UT Austin philosophy professor, Daniel Bonavac, joins us now. Professor, thanks for coming on.
Oh, happy to do it.
So you've taught for many years a course on ethics, and you said that you can't teach it anymore. Why?
I've been teaching a course called Contemporary Moral Problems for more than 30 years, ever since the late 1980s. And for years, it's gone very, very well. But recently, it's become almost impossible to teach. I tried to do things in a very politically balanced way so that if we were discussing an issue like abortion or affirmative action, one day would be devoted to the best arguments I could find in favor, and then the other day in the week, the best arguments I could find against. And then students had opportunities to discuss and so on in small sections. But I found that certain issues have become such hot potatoes, it's impossible to do that any longer. People really want to shut down discussion, want to shut down debate, don't want to hear arguments on the other side.
Yeah.
And I should say, it's not really my university or my students. Often the problem really stems from people outside the class who don't want it to take place.
Right. But what's the effect on the... First of all, I should say, thank you for trying hard to be balanced. That's always how you know the professor's conservative. You said, a student came up to you and said, you must be conservative. You're trying hard to be balanced. Liberals don't try.
Exactly.
But what effect does it have on the kids if they're never exposed to actual debate? Isn't debate the hallmark of a free society?
Well, it is, absolutely. And it's very frustrating in a way because students come in with a certain set of expectations. And those have been changing just over the past few years. Before, they were eager to debate ideas. They wanted to hear arguments even on the other side to learn. But recently I found that a strange phenomenon occurs. As soon as a controversial topic comes up, one where there's an approved politically correct opinion, I find that students just turn off. They think either you're going to tell me what I've already heard many, many times before, and I have nothing to learn from this, or you're going to say something politically incorrect, and that's very dangerous, and I feel uncomfortable because I could be asked to take a stand, and I don't want to be on the spot. And so I found that even this term, for example, discussing the history of the civil rights movement, the moment we start, half the class just turns their minds off and starts looking somewhere else. Even though I try to do this in a sort of fresh way, they don't want to hear it. They think there's one set of approved opinions about this. Either you're going to repeat them, in which case I don't need to do this, or you're not, in which case I want out of here. But
what's so striking is, I mean, so you teach at University of Texas at Austin. You have to be in the top 10 or 7% or whatever of your class. It's a lot of the smart kids in Texas go to your school, and they're going to be running your state and the country in a decade or two. And if they have never been exposed to ideas they disagree with, they're never forced to grapple with them, what kind of leaders are they going to be?
I don't know. It's a disturbing thing. John Stuart Mill said a long time ago that if you never encounter ideas that are counter to yours, then you really lose a sense of the argument supporting your own position.
That's right.
The truth becomes a dead dogma, and I think we're in serious danger of that. I do want to stress that there's a pretty small group that wants to shut down this discussion. I'll tell you a couple of stories if we have time. One is the next to last time I taught the course. The last couple of minutes of the last lecture, someone stood up in the back, asked a question, and when I called on them, this person went on a diatribe about how unfair the class was, how one-sided it was, and so forth. That student was, it was someone I had never seen before. That was not a student in my class. They continued talking until the bell rang, and then just stormed out of the room. Now, my other students came up to me supportively saying, what was that? We never saw that person before. But they were trying to shut down the course to make it uncomfortable.
Of course. Well,
on November... Oh, go ahead.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but I would ask you very quickly if you've noted that a small number of malcontents has all the power all of a sudden, not just in your class, but in our society. Have you noticed that?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. People who were not my students showed up on the morning of November 9th, just after the election, waiting to disrupt the class. When I just proceeded with business as usual, they left. But that small number is ready to try to shut down any open discussion of ideas.
I don't think coming on the show is going to help your cause any. Just coming on saying reasonable things, totally probably causing more trouble for you. But thank you for doing it anyway. Appreciate it, Professor.